Okay, hola estudiantes. Today we're going to be discussing how to tell the time in Spanish. Previously, we learned all of our numbers, so this is going to help us as we learn how to take time in Spanish. So to say time in Spanish is the word la hora. So when I refer to la hora, that means the time. So the objectives for today, what am I asking you? What should you be able to do at the end of this presentation? The first thing you should be able to do is number one, you will be able to state the current time in Spanish. Okay, so that's the first thing I want you to be able to do. Number two, you will be able to discuss when you have certain classes in Spanish. So I want you to be able to say the time. So it is 9 o'clock. When you have certain classes, so I have Spanish class at 2 o'clock. And then you'll be able to discuss the times when certain events begin or end in Spanish. Okay. So these are the three things that I would like you to be able to do by over the next couple days. So in Spanish, this is where you're going to start taking notes. On a sheet of paper, please make sure you're taking notes. To say to somebody, what time is it? You're going to say the expression, ¿Qué hora es? So repitan, por favor. ¿Qué hora es? So essentially this means, what time is it? ¿Qué hora es? So throughout the course of this lesson, we are going to be discussing this question. So in Spanish, to take time, okay, if ever the number is bigger than one, so 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, we always start with the expression son las. We always start with the expression son las. Always start with this expression, son las. Okay, so this is the expression we're going to use all the time. So if it's ever bigger than one, you're always going to start with son las. So this is equivalent to like it is. Then you're going to look at the time before the colons. So 9 o'clock would be son las 9 de la mañana. If we're looking at 11 o'clock, because 11 again is bigger than 10, you're going to say son las 11 de la noche. So again, bigger than 1, usamos la expresión son las. Now, what happens if we just have 1 o'clock? Whenever we're talking about 1 o'clock something, we're going to use this expression, es la una. So everybody repeat after me. Repitan, por favor. Es la una. So 1 o'clock itself is es la una. 1:05 is es la una y cinco. 1:10 would be es la una y diez. So I think what you're starting to notice already is that when we tell time is what we do is we take the base, so es la una, or son las, whatever, and then you add the amount of minutes, so e, however amount of minutes. So instead of AM or PM in Spanish, we have the expressions de la mañana, kind of like buenos días, por la mañana, okay. De la mañana means in the morning. We also have then de la tarde. So when I greet you and I may say buenas tardes, this means good afternoon. So de la tarde is in the afternoon. And don't forget to say good evening is buenas noches. So to say in the evening is de la noche. So we will always use es la una with de la mañana, de la tarde, de la noche. We will also use son las. Opción número dos. Opción número uno. Es la una, son las with de la mañana, de la tarde, de la noche. You can't forget about these. So we're going to do a couple of more specific examples here. In Spanish, whenever we have something that ends in 15, 30, or 45, después de 15, después de 30, después de 45, we use this special expression, y cuarto. Señores, repitan, y cuarto. Y cuarto. Cuarto is like and quarter, so essentially a quarter of an hour. Un cuarto de una hora. Remember, hay 60 minutos en una hora. Entonces, un cuarto de una hora son 15 minutos. Okay, so anything that ends in 15. So if I want to say 9:15 a.m., remember it's over 1. So I'm going to say son las 9:15 de la mañana. Anything ends in 30. We're going to say media. Señores, repitan, media. Media. This is essentially like half in Spanish, okay? 30 minutos. Si queremos decir 1:30, es la 1:30 de la mañana. Y finalmente, cuando queremos decir 45, decimos menos cuarto. We're going to talk about this here in a second, but whenever we have over 30, we always round up to the next hour. So I'm going to say son las 5 menos cuarto de la tarde de la noche. Okay, so if anything ends in 15, y cuarto. If it ends in 30, y media. Ends in 45, menos cuarto. Okay, so you've already started picking up on this. The colons here essentially are like the and in Spanish. So 8:20 would be represented by son las ocho. Take it step by step. Son las ocho. It's son las because it's not one. Son las ocho y 20 minutos. 10:13, step by step. Son las 10 and y 13 minutos. And if obviously if there was a AM or PM here, we would say de la mañana, de la noche, de la tarde. All right, so we're going to try a few. So number one, 3 o'clock p.m. This is over 1, so it's son las. There's nothing to add, and we've got in the afternoon. So number one is going to be son las 3. You don't say y cero. You just say son las 3 de la tarde. Número dos, you got 5 o'clock. That's over 1, so you got son las 5. Remember, we have a special time for 15. That's y cuarto. AM. De la mañana. What I want you to do right now with a partner, with your partner, go ahead and discuss 3, 4, and 5. I'll give you a minute. 3, 4, and 5. Go ahead and discuss these. Okay, I'm giving you a minute. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and discuss. So we did a couple of these together. Son las 3 de la tarde, it's 3 o'clock. 5:15 in the morning is son las 5:15 de la mañana. Now here are some ones that we have not, that you're supposed to do with your partner. So if I want to look at 10:30, remember it's 10, so it's over 1, so it's son las. So we start with son las or es la. It's over 1, so it's son las 10:30. That's what we say when we have time, or when we have half the hour, de la mañana. Son las 10:30 de la mañana. Next one, when you have 8:10, it's over 1, so it's son las. And the amount of minutes, y 10. Son las 8:10. It's p.m. de la noche. Lastly, 2 o'clock. It's over 1. Son las 2 o'clock, dos. Add the amount of minutes, 14. p.m., 2 o'clock would be in the afternoon, de la tarde. So remember, always take son las, es la, add the amount of minutes, de la tarde, de la mañana, de la noche. Now, we've given some pretty easy ones. What happens now when the minute is past 30 minutes? So say, for example, we're talking that it's 10:35. What we do is we round up to the next hour. So we're going to round up to 11 here. And then we subtract the amount of minutes from this time. So keep in mind, there are 60 minutes in an hour. So the difference between 60 and 35 is 25 minutes. So essentially what we're going to say here, Spanish is kind of like antique in the sense that for people who have been to London or Europe, you're going to say it's 11 o'clock minus 25 minutes, or it's 25 minutes to 11. Okay, so if it's over 30, we round up to the next hour, we subtract the amount of minutes, keeping in mind that there are 60 minutes in an hour. So we're going to do some examples together. So for example, if we want to say it's 3 o'clock, we're going to start with the next hour. So it's 4 o'clock. There's a 20-minute difference between 40 and 60. So we're going to say son las 4. We're getting it because this is the next hour. Son las 4. And then what we say is minus the amount of minutes. There's 20 minutes between 40 and 60. So son las 4 menos 20 de la tarde. The next one, 6 o'clock is the next hour. There's a 5-minute difference between 5:55 and the next whole hour. So we're going to say son las seis. This comes from the next hour. Menos cinco, the amount of minutes difference between this time and the next hour. De la tarde. Now, a couple of you may want to put here de la noche. I don't know. Kind of, in my opinion, it's a little bit different for everybody when you think nighttime starts. I start to think that 5 o'clock is when nighttime starts to catch in. But in the real world, no one's going to grade you if you say de la tarde or de la noche because your perception of when night and afternoon are different. So we're going to try a couple together. So we have 11:50 p.m. The next hour is 12. So we're going to say son las 12. There's a 10-minute difference between 11:50 and 12 o'clock. Menos 10 de la noche. Number two, número dos. 2:35. The next hour is 3 o'clock. There's a 25-minute difference between this time and the next hour. So we're going to say son las 3 menos 25 in Spanish is 25 de la tarde. All right, again, I'm going to give you a little bit of time here. Completen con compañeros, with your partners, con sus compañeros. 3, 4, y 5, por favor. This time I'll give you a little bit more time just because these are a little bit more, these require just a little bit more. All right. 2 minutos. And let me pull up the timer for you. Countdown. 2 minutes. Pull up the presentation again for you. All right, 2 minutos. Okay, vamos a empezar. So we went through 11:50 p.m. We said that son las 12 menos 10 de la noche. 12 o'clock minus 10 minutes. We went through this one. Son las 3 menos 25 de la tarde. So the next one, número tres, 9:45 a.m. We're rounding up to 10. So we're going to say son las 10 menos. Remember what we do when we have 45. We always have a special expression, menos cuarto de la mañana. Remember 45 in Spanish, we always say menos cuarto de la mañana. Número cuatro, rounding up now to 1 o'clock. So remember when we talk about 1, we have to say es la una. There's a 5-minute difference between 12:55 and the next whole hour. So it's es la una menos cinco de la tarde. Again, whenever you refer to 1, it's got to be es la una. Número cinco, rounding up to 7. So son las 7 menos 14. That's the amount of hours, the amount of minutes difference. Menos 14 de la noche. So again, over 30 minutes, round up to the next hour, take the difference to the next hour in terms of minutes. Okay, and last thing, if in Spanish we want to say at, we use the expressions a las and a la. So if I want to say Spanish class starts, empieza, at 11:30, I'm going to say a las 11:30. And the reason we say a las is because this is higher than 1. If I want to say math class starts at 1:15, la clase de matemáticas empieza a la 1:15 because this is 1. So a la is always used with 1. A las is anything, el número más de uno. So if you want to say you have Spanish class at 3 o'clock, I'm going to say I have is yo tengo la clase de español. I said 3 o'clock. Now, because it's 3, I'm going to use a las 3 de la tarde. If I want to say I have Spanish class, or Roberto has Spanish class at 12:50, I'm going to say Roberto tiene la clase de español. Now remember, over 30, we got to round up. So our reference point essentially here is going to be 1 o'clock with a 10-minute difference. A la una menos 10. We'll call this PM de la tarde. So when we want to say the time, when we want to look at our watch, we either use son las or a las. So this is just the time expressions. When we want to say at, that something starts at a certain time, vamos a usar estas expresiones a las y a la. Okay? So I'm going to put this presentation up on YouTube, and I'll put it also up on Blackboard, so you can go ahead and follow along. And if you need to review it again, you can go ahead and do so. Okay? Muchísimas gracias y adiós.